Good evening. I appreciate all you guys coming out to hear our annual report for the 2011-2012 school year. Farmington is a great place to be. I really enjoy being here. And, you know, as I began this year, it's my 10th year. And I look back and spent quite a bit of time, I think, actually this summer reflecting on, you know, where we started. You know, and I think about pretty much all the kids in this district were right here on this corner when we started 10 years ago. And the growth that we've had since that time, not only with student-wise, but our facilities, with our test scores. You know, I remember one of the first things that I was charged with by one of our board members was that we have a better reputation as a school district than I think our test scores indicate. And over the years, beginning with those elementary grades, when Ms. Stroke was principal at the elementary school, and now coming on up, you know, and we saw great success, and I don't want to steal Terry's thunder because she's going to talk to you in just a little bit about test scores, but you just don't know how my heart is strengthened by that kind of thing. And I think that God's really blessed us here in this district, and I just feel very pleased to have spent in just a few months 10 years of my career here, you know, and you kind of get to that point where you're, you know, tipping over on the other direction, and you're going downhill, and you're looking for other opportunities to sort of wrap a career up. I couldn't be prouder that I've spent these last 10 years here with you guys at Farmington. And so I'll go back to the same thing that I hammer you guys on quite a bit. It's our vision. And you know, I really want this district to be the best district in the state of Arkansas. And to do that, it's a team effort. And we've stressed with our supervisors and with our principals how important it is to hire the right people. We've tried to avoid hiring the people that you have political pressure to hire, the people that are related to community members or board members or each other, you know, our friends and neighbors, and hire the very best people that we can to put in the presence of our children. And I think that that's worked for us very well, and that's a big part of trying to achieve that vision. We have a great supportive board. I think it starts there. I think it's very difficult for us to make decisions in the central office without that support. I think it's very difficult for all of you that are in the buildings to make decisions there if you don't think, you know, we're not in the position at the central office to back you up. So the board, I think, begins that whole process. And again, I think we've hired a great staff at every school. And I think I miss a lot of the people that we've lost, that have moved on for other reasons, some retirement, some, you know, for other opportunities. But almost without exception, the principals and the supervisors have done a great job of going out and finding those people that were as strong or stronger. And so our instructional staff has improved over the last 10 years. And I think this is another reason that we see that reflected in great test scores. I'm very proud of that. Now, the state helps us a little bit with our vision. You know, each year, I know that you're all aware that when we went to hear Bill Daggett, he said Arkansas never met a standard it didn't like. He said in all his travels over the United States, he believes Arkansas has more standards for education than any other state in the union by far. And, you know, that's not necessarily a bad thing, although when we get ready for things like standards review, which is a process that the Department of Education, a review that they'll be conducting October the 18th, it creates a lot of busy work for the central office and for you guys in the buildings. And so, but we appreciate those things, those efforts that really help us keep the bar high. And one of the things is that every year we turn in data through reports telling how many students that each teacher is assigned, talking about the licensure of each teacher to make sure that those things are appropriate, that people are assigned in appropriate positions to which they have a license. And last year was one of the first years of my, maybe the only 1 or 2 years of the 10 years since I've been here that we were perfect. Every school in the district was fully accredited, not accredited sided. This year, I know that we have hired some folks, maybe from the classroom to assume a counselor's position or media specialist, those kind of things. And those people are on an ALP. They will be working to make sure that they get the appropriate license, and they have a period of 2 to 3 years to do that. So we will get some accredited sided on our reports this year, but you know, I think again we're recognizing talent that we have from within, and we're moving those people to positions that help them to stretch and to grow professionally. So I'm very pleased with that. Also, each school has an ACSIT plan. We go to the board with these things a couple times a year. I think we went in May last year when we started making revisions. And those ACSIT plans are school improvement plans, and they contain our goals for improvement of instruction. They contain some budget information regarding how we spend our local dollars and how we spend many of our federal dollars. So those things are located there. We do test scores every year and analysis, and then use that analysis to tailor the instruction in the classroom. And I've got to tell you that, if you do the testing and you do not allow it to have an impact on changing instruction, we're wasting our time and money on those tests. Those tests have to be used to determine where we're doing a good job and where we could do better. And then we have to communicate that with the teachers in such a way that they can go back and look at what they're doing with lesson plans, especially as we are adopting the Common Core, and that's going to be moving up from our lower grades all the way through our upper grades. So we need to look at those things. Again, I mentioned to you that we're a growth district, and our district enrollment right now is about 2212. I think when we first started, although it's always difficult for us to determine exactly how many kids that we have on campus those first few days, I think we started out with about 2223. And currently, I think we have about 2212. So we've lost about 10 students somewhere during the course of that time. At Folsom, we have 299 kids. And remember, that's a K-2 building. Williams, 388. At our intermediate school, serving grades 4 and 5, we have 355 students. At Lynch Middle School, we have 531 kids that crowd the halls of this building every day. And then at the high school, we have 639 kids. And not only we have, 639 kids at that high school, but we also have one offering of NTI there and several offerings a day from Northwest Arkansas Community College. So when you combine our school population with the population of those folks that are coming on and off of our campus, we've got a lot of kids on that campus. We have a lot of kids in this district, a lot of activity. And one of the things that I learned early on from the Department of Education's facility unit was that when we got ready to build, don't build it around this corner. Take it off-site somewhere. So that's why we built Williams on Broyle Street, where it's located, and we built Folsom on Grace Lane on the other side of town where it's located. And it has greatly improved traffic flow at this corner. Now, you might not believe that. About 7:45 on opening day out there at that intersection, but it really is much better than it once was, and it's certainly better than it would have been had we not followed the advice of those folks and built those campuses in other places. Financially, this district, we try to be very conscious of what we do with the taxpayer's dollar. And we're putting monies aside because we know that although we've added onto this building since I've been here, we've built 2 elementary schools since I've been here, and actually I got to finish the addition to the high school when I was coming in. The demand is growing every year to build a new high school. And that's an exciting thing, and that's a worrisome thing, because I'm trying to figure out what grade configurations are we going to have. I'm trying to figure out how we're going to pay for that. What you move over there, can we go over there and build it in one fell swoop? We know that we're going to leave some of our athletic programs over here on this site. Are we going to do that with the football field? Is that going to stay here for a while, or can we build that when we move over there? Our gym, fine arts auditorium, something that we're woefully inadequate on. If you look at this facility, we have no stage. If you look at the high school facility, we have no stage. And we are growing our fine arts kids. Mr. Spillers, Mr. Mitchell do such a great job with our band program, and now CJ, what a great team, and how many kids that we have there. And I talked to Jim just yesterday about how many of our kids are going to go at the end of this year with band scholarships. Families are going to have their children educated as a result of their experience and opportunity to participate in the band program. And I'm tickled to death of that. I'm tickled to death when we get athletic scholarships. Our kids go off and represent us in all kinds of places. When our kids get academic scholarships, and I have to brag just a little bit. Carter got the thing yesterday about, he's going to get to take that Duke test. And it just makes me proud that our kids are doing this well. And I heard that we did the Explorer here today at the middle school. We did the Plan test today over at the high school. We're preparing our kids for the next steps. And I'm very proud of that. I'm proud of where our test scores have gone. And you have to have a little revenue to do those things. And we have an annual budget in excess of $16 million. And that's good. The only problem is that your expenditures are also about $16 million. You can see that gives us a difference, or the projected ending balance of a little over $500,000. But we've had a good track record financially as well. We've been very, I think, careful stewards of the tax dollars of our folks. And we are very conservative when we estimate what our revenues are going to be. So at the end of the day, last year's balance was nearly $750,000. At the end of this school year, I will bet you that we are going to have more than $718,000 to end the year. Again, because you guys work so hard, our school people, our principals, our supervisors, to stay within the budgets that we give them, okay? And so that helps us very much. And again, we're conservative on our consideration of what our revenues will be. So we'll take in more dollars than probably what we've indicated. So that really helps us. And what we're doing every year is we're putting some money back, because we are going to approach the taxpayers with an option for a millage at some point in the future. Don't know exactly how many years that will be, but the lower that millage increase can be, the more likely that we're going to have a chance of passing it. So we need to keep that as low as possible. So we're trying to be good stewards, again, saving some money that you don't see included in that ending balance, to the tune of about $1.6 million at this point that we have saved back to save our taxpayers some dollars, because with the new partnership that we have with the Department of Education, they will not pay like they did in the old days. They're going to pay about 50% of part of our construction. And if we build a new gym, they're not going to partner with us on that. They'll partner with us a little bit on that fine arts auditorium, but probably about 40% of that. On the football field, they'll partner with us zero. Those all have to be local dollars. Even an administration building, any kind of an administration costs, aren't covered with that 50-50 partnership. So districts have to find ways to generate those revenues, and we've chosen to try to save as much as we can as we approach those things. One of the things that you'll be hearing a lot about, and you probably have already begun to hear about it on the news, maybe at open houses at your schools, is that the Common Core standards are going to be adopted beginning this year in grades K through 2. And then each year we'll kind of phase these things in. And to give you a little history on this, I think one of the genesis of this was that we had military families that would move from base to base in different states, and they found out that the educational opportunities varied greatly. The course of study varied greatly when they went from state to state, and that was a little bit of an issue. And then for years, I've talked to our staff about how it is that some states set very high bars for their local tests. Our benchmark test, for instance, is considered to be probably the 4th most difficult test in the United States, while some states have adopted tests that are very minimum performance. And so as you try, maybe whether you be a politician or just a member of the public or a media person, and you look at those test scores and you try to compare between states, it's very difficult, if not impossible, to do. Well, hopefully the adoption of the Common Core standards, which includes 46 states at this point, and I'm going to assume that everybody will come on eventually, is going to allow us at some point to develop a test, a PARCC assessment, if you will, that is going to be more of a level playing field, a test where whether a student's in Minnesota or New Mexico, you can be able to then look at those test scores, look at the curriculum that those students have been taught, and find pretty much an even playing field. We'll be able to measure how we're doing in instructing our kids versus a child educated in New Jersey or Massachusetts. So we think that's pretty important. And then 3 through 8 will be in 12, 13, and then finally in Grades 9 through 12 will be in 2013 to 2014. It will be fully implemented, and then the assessments are going to be, they're being developed, you know, as we speak, as we're bringing those Common Core standards to our people. So we really think that this is a parent-friendly thing, and since we kind of build our annual report to the public as part of a PTA, PTSA function, I went to the website for the PTAs and PTSAs, and I picked a short video to talk to you, to help homes, parents more than anyone else, understand a little bit more about the Common Core and what it is. And I'd like to play that video for you at this time.
So we think parents are very important in children's education. We think children learn best when there's a partnership between parents and teachers that are all concerned with the best outcome for children. So in the case of the Common Core state standards, what we're excited about is that these are standards that are clear and can be communicated to parents. And that's what we're doing at the National PTA. We're actively communicating with our parent leaders across the country about the Common Core state standards and how these standards are going to make it easier for them to understand what their children need to learn and be able to do grade by grade. And the end result will be that more of their children will be ready for college and career when they graduate from high school. I think what parents really want and what they really value is having an open door with policymakers. They really like to feel like if they have a concern that they can come and raise it with those policymakers at the district or the state level.
For years we've been talking about what an importance it is for parents in the home to be engaged in the educational process of kids. And we have many that are. And I think that some of our kids that do the best are products of those kind of environments. And yet we still have many parents that are disengaged. They either feel unqualified or, you know, people are busy. Oftentimes both parents and the family work, and, you know, the term latchkey kids, we have a lot of those kind of kids out there, and you know, they need assistance. And the more of that we can engage the parents and improve and increase their involvement in, the better we'll all be. So we look forward to the Common Core is also another link to the family. And the better they understand our efforts with Common Core and that curriculum and its purpose, I think the more engaged that they'll become. So I think that's very important. I've tried really hard tonight not to steal Terry's thunder, although I just almost like to take her slides and talk about the test scores too, because I'm so proud of them. We do have areas that we want to grow in. We do have some areas that we're not as proud of yet as we'd like to be. But we've come a long way, and we're still growing. You know, we haven't plateaued. We haven't started to drop off. We're still on that incline. And once you get to the percentages that we are, I think that's pretty important. So at this time, I'd like to introduce our Director of Instruction, Ms. Terry Stroke.
I wanted to share with you some of our comparison data that we have put together showing kind of where we rank from the other districts in the northwest quarter of the state. And I'm going to start with the kindergarten Iowa exam. You can see that on the first side of the first slide, kindergarten vocabulary, we ranked second, only behind Bentonville. We were in the 75th percentile. Kindergarten reading words, we ranked 9th. We were in the 85th percentile. And then kindergarten language, we ranked second, tied for second, and the 95th percentile. In kindergarten math, we ranked third in the 82nd percentile. So you can see that those students overall scored well in kindergarten. First grade on the Iowa exam, for first grade reading, we were second, the 71st percentile, only behind Bentonville. And in language as well, we were in the 81st percentile behind Bentonville, ranked second. First grade math, we were second behind Bentonville in the 72nd percentile. Second grade for Iowa tests, we ranked fourth in reading in the 68th percentile. The highest was 75. We ranked third in language in the 66th percentile, the highest being 69. And we tied for first in math, the 74th percentile. for second grade math. So you can see that our students are very competitive. Third grade math benchmark, you can see that we were the highest scoring school district in the Northwest region, and I would say that probably puts us pretty close to the highest in the state. And we had 94% of our students proficient or advanced in math in third grade. Third grade literacy, we were second with 83% of our students proficient or advanced. Rogers is the #1 district. For fourth grade math, we ranked 5th with 86% of our students scoring proficient or advanced, and we were 6th in literacy with 85% of our students scoring proficient or advanced. Fifth grade math, we were tied for 4th with Prairie Grove at 88% of our students proficient or advanced. And in literacy, we were 3rd for 5th grade, 83% of our students proficient or advanced. For 6th grade, we were 3rd in math, 88% of our students proficient or advanced, and we were 8th in literacy with 78%. 7th grade math, we were tied for 6th. We had 82% of our students proficient or advanced. And 7th grade literacy, we were 11th, tied for 11th with 71% proficient or advanced. 8th grade math, we were 3rd, 78% proficient or advanced. And 8th grade literacy, we were 5th with 85% proficient or advanced. Algebra 1 end of course exam, we were tied for 10th. We had 84% of our students proficient or advanced in Algebra 1. And then the geometry end of course, we were tied for 15th. 75% of our students were proficient or advanced in geometry. In biology, we were 5th with 49% of our students scoring proficient or advanced. And the grade 11 literacy exam, we were tied for 5th on the grade 11 literacy with 75% of our students scoring proficient or advanced. A number of these scores have come up quite a bit. We still have some work to do, but we will continue to do that. Thank you.
11th grade literacy up nearly 20 points, very proud of that, anxious to see where we go with that. And, those scores, are really near the top, and we get to the secondary level and we're a little bit further down the line, and we want to see those bumped up. That's our goal. We're working very hard to do that. So I want to say how much I appreciate all of you guys coming out this evening and being part of what we've done, especially you guys that are staff members, and I know that you sacrifice being away from home and families many nights because of all the school activities that we have. So thank you very much for being here. At this time, I would entertain any questions that you might have or take any comments. Again, thank you very much for being here. Go Cards, beat Prairie Grove.